Coffey with the national anthems, getting more airtime than Al Trotwood during periods. The officials tonight, the referee Don Koharski and the linesmen Swede Knox and Kevin Collins. The goaltenders in game number 1 for Chicago, it is Murray Bannerman. He has started every playoff game for the Blackhawks, facing 40 shots a night, a 3.60 goal average, good enough with this team, scoring 6 goals a game. For the Oilers, it will be Grant Fuhr. He has been brilliant. Starting every Oiler game, he's 7-0, 2.50 goals against. He has been the first star in 4 of the 7 games played by the Oilers in the playoffs. And we are ready to go. A reminder again, all-star defenseman for the Blackhawks, Doug Wilson, out with a groin injury. And you know how much that affects the Blackhawk attack both defensively and offensively. Pete Brown takes it in for the Blackhawks. This is Olczyk, number 16, being bumped. Troy Murray is smashed to the boards. Murray in front. Olczyk fans on the shot. Pete Brown, he fires, and Fuhr comes 15 feet out to make the save. As the Oilers then shoot it into the neutral zone. So the Blackhawks quickly go on the attack, and the Oilers quickly come out hitting. This is Troy Murray, who winds it in. Grant Fuhr leaves it for his defense. Olczyk almost steals, and we have a penalty coming up. 33 seconds into the hockey game, and Don Koharski has called a penalty as Mark Messier, making his way over to the box and curls around as he watches Kurt Fraser go in. So Fraser gets the penalty 33 seconds into the game.
Fraser for slashing. 1927 is the time. Kurt Fraser, by the way, is wearing a flap jacket to protect some injured ribs that he has, and that is not going to be comfortable for him. Right now you see number 8, Kurt Fraser, sitting in the penalty box. Slashing was the goal.
But has not really been productive in the playoffs.
That's been a big butt, Al. They have only scored 4 goals in 22 opportunities, 18.2%. That is terrible for the Edmonton Oilers.
And here is Coffey leading it out. Puts on the brakes. He has Krushenitsky in front, but he can't hold on. So the first appearance for Gretzky and Curry, 2 70-goal scorers. Patterson, 26, loses his stick, but keeps the skate on it. Right in front, Krushenitsky. And he is turned around. Bannerman sticks it aside, and Ben Wilson wraps it all the way around, and it'll come all the way down. 30 seconds gone by in the Edmonton power play as Coffey overskates. Coffey with 6 goals in the 7 games. He is just 3 goals shy of the all-time defensive playoff record of 9. Here is Jerome Dupont, and he shoots it down.
Everyone's very interested to see how Paul Coffey is going to be skating in this game tonight. No problem so far, but he is wheeling on a bad foot right now.
Krushenitsky plays it cross ice. Charlie Huddy, who has 10 assists in the playoffs, looking for one here. Gretzky steps into his office, sizes up the situation. In front to Curry. And Curry gets it back and loses now to Brown. With just 40 seconds to go on the power play, Brown taking it and decides to curl back the other way.
Interesting, the assistant coach for the Chicago Blackhawks, Cliff Corral, said before the game that killing penalties, we have to be extremely disciplined. If we're going to be aggressive, we have to be very aggressive.
Messier putting on the speed, the back pass, return to Messier. He has Napier behind the net. Napier goes cross ice, intercepted by Bill Gardner, and he finds the slot and sends it through. Just 10 seconds left on the power play for the Oilers. They have not gotten a good shot on Bannerman in this power play. Anderson taking it in. Anderson in front. Saved by Bannerman. Rebound fired. Kick saved by Bannerman. Napier doesn't know where it is. Bannerman does. 3 big saves off the bat by Murray Bannerman. For our local systems, we'll pause now. USA Sports is bringing you the Stanley Cup playoffs.
15 seconds certainly got Murray Bannerman into this game. 3 big opportunities for the Oilers. They failed on all of them.
And the penalty is over. Teams at equal strength. No score. 17:15 left in the first period of play. Bob Murray, number 6, run into by McClellan. Hunter, number 12 for Edmonton. And it is Savard who leaves it for his defenseman. Bergevin in the lineup tonight because of the scratch to Doug Wilson. The 19-year-old Bergevin loses. Lindstrom shoots it back. And they are running at the youngster. Bergevin taking on two of the Oilers. And the Oilers forechecking, keeping it in. Here's Bannerman, who sometimes acts as a third defenseman, clears it out. Savard being ridden from behind by Lindstrom. Jerome Dupont, 25, plays it cross ice to Brown. He loses to Pozar. Kuselniski after the puck. And Al Secor, the veteran left wing, takes the long shot, and Grant Fuhr leaves it for the defense. Coffey rounding his net, being checked there by Lysiak. Passes it ahead. Huddy, the long shot, and Bannerman lets that one go by. Larmer banged by Pozar. Lysiak can't get it out. Right in front, it is golfed at. Still loose in front, and Dupont able to get the handle of it and clears it to center.
Right now the Blackhawks, Al, they're protecting the net much better than they did in the Minnesota series. They are obviously very conscious of the fact that the Oilers can swarm that net. They're giving Murray Bannerman some decent help right now, taking away those second shots.
Well, Gary, as you mentioned, the difficulty as Yaremchuk puts it in front, and Huddy clears it out. Now the Oilers led by Coffey. He has Semenko breaking. Gretzky stands on the pass. The shot, and Curry sent it wide. He had the open net. He had Bannerman at his mercy, but could not get Wood on the puck. Yaremchuk, who can fly, the youngster for the Blackhawks, puts it on goal. Here is Coffey. Yaremchuk off the screen. He shoots. Kick saved by Fuhr. Rebound. And Lysiak's shot goes off of Fuhr's stick and deflects wide. Gretzky takes it off the board. Gretzky surrounded by two men. And a poke check by Lysiak as Lee Fogelin, the granddaddy of the Oilers, has the puck. Ahead to Messier. Messier chasing after it with Bergevin. And Bannerman helps out. Frazier, he loses right in front. Backhand, and it's blocked by Bergevin, who comes back into the play in front of his own goal. Quick action, good start. First 5.5 minutes of this game. Bob Murray, the long shot, it kind of dies there, and Fuhr drops it for Kevin Lowe. Anderson overskates, but it's picked up off the board. Napier, an addition since coming over from Minnesota. Napier right in front. The shot, score! Anderson makes it 1-0.
That's the problem with the Edmonton Oilers. You can't just watch Wayne Gretzky. They can all score out there. Great job by Napier, who just feeds that puck to number 9, Glenn Anderson. Where was the coverage on Glenn Anderson? He was all alone in front of Murray Bannerman. I just got finished saying that Chicago had been giving Bannerman some decent help. All of a sudden, that help disappears. Glenn Anderson took advantage of it.
Anderson has been a Blackhawk killer. In the 3 games against the Hawks this year, he has had hat tricks in 2 of those. 6 goals in 3 games against the Hawks this year. And he has opened the scoring in this series. Napier and Fogelin get the assists. 5:48 is the time. The Oilers, last few minutes, really putting on the pressure in the Blackhawk zone. As it comes to center ice, 1-0, Edmonton leads. Randy Gregg chasing back, being forechecked by Secord. Gregg and Secord hit one another. And now we have a whistle as Koharski picks that up, as he has called a penalty with 13:45 left in the first period. 1-0 Edmonton. We'll be right back.
The man we refer to as Dr. Randy Gregg, number 21 for the Oilers, sitting in the penalty box right now. 2 minutes for slashing was the call. 6:15 was the time. There you can see exactly why he retaliated against number 20, Al Secord, and got himself a slashing penalty. The Hawks have a chance now to get back into this game.
Bob Murray rolls it in front. Still loose there. Right in the crease, and it's saved by Coffey as he tucks it under the pants of his goaltender. Al Secord uses that body in front. Dennis Savard surveying the scene, and it was Coffey who made the save.
Watch Grant Fuhr. When he makes the save, he just sticks that stick out twice, not just once, but twice. But once he was down, then he lost sight of the puck. You could see the puck in between his legs. He just closed them, but he was not sure that puck was actually there. But the Blackhawks had a good opportunity had they been able to get that puck up and over the falling Grant Fuhrer.
Here is Coffey reeling out for the Oilers. Gets by Gardner. And we have a whistle and a penalty. Now Coffey and Secord going at it in the corner.
Doesn't appear as though there's any problems with Paul Coffey's foot tonight. He is skating well.
If there is, you imagine if he were healthy. For our local systems, we'll pause now. It's the Stanley Cup on USA.
So much for the Blackhawks' opportunity on the power play. Bill Gardner gets a penalty for holding. There you see, he was trying to drag down Paul Coffey. Gardner for holding. 6:40 was the time, and that is the one problem. When you are facing the Edmonton Oilers, and they are killing the penalty, they are so dangerous that if they don't score, so often you tend to take a penalty against them. They have such tremendous speed.
Well, there's a campaign here trying to get the Norris Trophy for Paul Coffey, and you see how valuable he was on that sequence. Not only made the save as the puck was in his crease, tucking under Fuhrer, coming back the other way, and drawing the penalty. So now the Oilers, who should have had this game tied up, instead still lead 1-0 and no longer fighting a man down as the teams are at equal strength. O'Callaghan, number 5 for the Blackhawks. Gretzky goes in behind to try to get him. Ben Wilson, number 23 for the Hawks, and he sends it behind. So the Hawks right now going nowhere but backwards.
When you've got an opportunity to come out of your own end zone against the Edmonton Oilers, do so. Don't turn back ever. That just gives them another opportunity to put some pressure on you.
And the Oilers will have a 25-second man advantage. Here is Coffey heading in. Kick save by Bannerman as Coffey goes in on Murray Bannerman. 6 shots for the Oilers, and I'd say 5 of them were real testers. Bannerman has been sharp. The long shot kicked out by Bannerman right in front. Gretzky, he is played off by Brown while Secord takes the puck. Secord busting out. He has Savoy, and he has Dupont. Here's Dupont on the rebound, but he can't control. Huddy behind the goal, a free agent who signed and made good with the Oilers. As did Randy Gregg on that back line for Edmonton. 12 minutes to go. As Savard winding it up, leaves it for Brown. Brown returns to Savard. Savard, the leading scorer in the playoffs with 19 points. This is Messier with the speed. And Lowe wraps it in. Messier to Anderson. Bannerman gets it along the boards, but it is kept in by Edmonton. Blackhawks with a fast start. Brown gets wrapped. He may have hurt himself. Messier pins him to the boards. Fogelin, he takes a shot from Larmer. Here is Anderson. Tries to shoot it and force it in front. Both teams now at equal strength. Anderson takes a shot on the back of his head.
No question, number 4, Keith Brown for the Blackhawks is really hurting. He was barely able to crawl off the ice. The Blackhawks could be in trouble if they can't get Brown back into the lineup tonight.
They are already playing without Doug Wilson, out with a groin injury. McClellan racing along the boards. And Bannerman had some problems with that floating shot. Lysiak gets it out. Blackhawks have been playing most of this first period in their zone after a good early start. The lead pass, and it is too long. Number 27 for the Blackhawks. Keep your eye on him, Darryl Sutter, the hero in the first couple of rounds. 2 overtime goals against Minnesota. Here is Yaremchuk looking for Sutter. Yaremchuk still with it. Hard to remove from the pocket. O'Callaghan swings and misses, and now the race is on. Ben Wilson for the Hawks, being checked by Lindstrom. Yaremchuk now on the left side. He's all over the ice. Steal by Krushelnyski. He has Kozar off the screen. Krushelnyski stays with it. Right in front. Comes to the point. Huddy fires. Scores!
The Blackhawks had got caught way back at the blue line, flat-footed, and that gave the Oilers an opportunity to set up this beautiful play. Who was covering the point? Well, not a Blackhawk, that's for sure. Charlie Huddy is number 22. As you can see him walk in, got a good hard shot away low. Bannerman was scrambling to get from his right to his left. Didn't get there in time. Right underneath of him, Charlie Huddy puts the Oilers ahead by the score of 2-0.
And that is his first playoff goal this season to go with his 10 assists. And you saw a glimpse of Keith Brown, the Blackhawk defenseman, going into the locker room as the Oilers again on the attack. 10:09, the time of the goal, as Krushelnyski gets the assist. He's the man who found Huddy closing in from the blue line. From Edmonton, you're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on USA. We'll be right back. The Edmonton Oilers, after the 9-day layoff, look like they're very happy to get back on the ice. They have jumped out to a 2-0 lead. But if you have been with us here on USA and have watched the Chicago Blackhawks in the playoffs, you know this is nothing. With Minnesota, they've been involved in many 2-goal deficits and came back, vice versa for the North Stars, so leads haven't meant much when the Blackhawks have been playing. Number 16, Pat Hughes. And here is Huddy bringing it out. Blackhawks in control. Huddy tries again. And Bannerman takes that hard shot. Huddy, one of the Blazers in the National Hockey League.
Al, I'm not trying to get all over top of the Chicago Blackhawks, but boy, they have had some problems right now defensively in their own end zone. They had 3 players caught up in neutral ice when the Oilers walked in to their end zone. Murray Bannerman has come up with some key saves in this hockey game, even though the score may be 2-0 and we've only completed a little over half of this first period. Bannerman has still made the difference from it being 2-0 to possibly 4 or 5-0.
He has started every game for the Blackhawks. He's seen an average of 40 shots a game. If this pattern of tonight's game holds true, he'll see 60 tonight. Already 10 shots on goal, and we're midway through the first period. Al Secord as a rebound, kick save by Fuhr, and what a beauty as Larmer with a quick shot. Here's Larmer again. Savard, the shot is blocked by Fogelin. And Edmonton with Gretzky leading it out. Ben Wilson smothers Curry. Semenko, the enforcer on the line with Gretzky and Curry. And now Secord bringing it out to the 2 top lines. Going at it, the lead pass to Gretzky, and unable to handle the puck. He heard the skate steps of O'Callaghan. Right in front, Curry sets it up. And now the Blackhawks, who appear right now to be skating in cement.
Oh, you've got to watch Gretzky. Every time he's on the ice, he is so tricky. He was sneaking behind the Blackhawks defense, and Jari Kurri, of course, knows exactly what Wayne Gretzky's going to do.
Anderson flips it ahead from Messier. Here is Anderson, who scored the first goal of tonight's game. 7 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the first period. Al Albert with Gary Green and Al Troutwood in Edmonton. Anderson hit into the boards, and Bannerman knows he has several white shirts around him, so he freezes the puck.
Not a bad idea, Murray Bannerman's right now, to freeze that puck every opportunity he gets, making sure the Blackhawks can get reorganized. You remember this man in playoffs last year, Mark Messier? He dominated every single series. Mark Messier was one of the finest players, and of course that gave him the Conn Smythe Award when the playoffs were over last year.
Here's Anderson, and another kick save and another long rebound by Bannerman. Edmonton's getting such good position on their shots. Bannerman has to make the save. Here's Yaremchuk going in. He shoots and he scores! And Yaremchuk showing the speed, splits the defense, and gets Chicago back in the game.
One thing that Yaremchuk is not lacking, and that is speed. Nice breakaway pass. Yaremchuk splits the defense right in between. He's got his head up, takes a look, and he beats Grant Fuhr. Now that's a big goal for the Blackhawks. Here is an ultra-slow replay that you will see from time to time tonight. And on that one, you could see just how much time Yaremchuk had to wind up with that shot. Blew it right by Grant Fuhr.
Ken Yaremchuk, he scored 10 goals during the regular season, already has 4 playoff goals. And it's 2-1 in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. Time 12:36. Sutter and Bergevin get the assist. And what a lift for the Hawks. Yaremchuk, who is non-stop. Tumbled to the ice by Melnick. Right in front, the tip by Sutter. And it's smothered by Messier, who comes all the way back. Randy Gregg rounds the net for the Oilers. Right on the stick of Mark Napier. Napier, who scored a point a game since coming over. Lets that go over his head, does Bannerman. And Wilson, for the Blackhawks, looks ahead. A 2-on-2. As Olczyk goes in, the long shot is smothered. Chicago bangs for the puck. Troy Murray. Murray stays with it, but is cleared by Huddy as he sends it into the crowd. 6.5 minutes to go in the first period. Edmonton leads 2-1. And for our local systems, we'll pause. USA Sports bringing you the Stanley Cup. 6.5 minutes to go in this first period. Already 22 shots on goal, 11 by each team. Here comes another one. McClellan in front. And the glove save. Out to the point. The shot. And it's steered aside by a defenseman's stick. Huddy certainly getting his shots tonight. Dug out by Lindstrom. Behind the goal goes O'Callahan, the native of Boston. Olczyk ahead to Troy Murray. Murray drops it for Fraser. He was looking for Olczyk, but it's intercepted. And Paul Coffey now winding it up for the North Star. Coffey, the pass to McClellan, hits the side of the net. Kevin McClellan, a tough customer, digging in, and he falls on the puck, and we will have a face-off in the Chicago end.
Surprisingly, right now, the Oilers only have 14 shots on net. Let's go down to Al Troutwig. Well, we're not going
to the story of Lou Carter.
Here's Larmer shooting. And Larmer has a man at the point. Gretzky with a steal, and now Gretzky bringing it out. Curry goes between the legs, can't get it to Gretzky, and DuPont fires it in. 5 minutes and 12 seconds to go in this first period. Oilers 2 and the Blackhawks 1. Game number 1 of the Campbell Conference Finals. Semenko is smothered by O'Callahan. Two big players meet on the board. Here's Gretzky. Oh, what a shot, and Bannerman smothered it. Gretzky just turned and wrapped it. Dangerously in front, but the Blackhawks clear, and there's Yaremchuk again. Savard several miles offside. Well, from coast to coast in all 50 states, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs only on USA. Action in the Chicago zone, not for long, as Lutzik comes out. Two men back. Lutzik, a 360. And we have a penalty coming up to the Edmonton Oilers, as Steve Lutzik, making a rare appearance in this game, comes out, and the Oilers will be a man down. So when we return, the Chicago Blackhawks, trailing by 1 goal, will have a power play with 4 minutes and 24 seconds to go in the first period.
Randy Gregg for the Oilers in the penalty box for the second time tonight. He gets it for holding, and you will see him doing exactly that on number 29, Steve Lutzik, for the Chicago Blackhawks, and that was the ultra slow-mo. You'll notice that is a little different type of replay. The ultra slow-mo has a little strobe effect and has much more clarity, and we will have an opportunity to see that during tonight's telecast.
Chicago setting it up right in front. Sutter comes back to Bob Murray. He drills it and kicked out by Fuhr. Here's Gardner as he fires it in front. It's blocked by the defense. And Krushelnyski shoots it down. 25 seconds gone by in the power play. Randy Gregg getting his second penalty of the game.
Charlie Huddy, Al, went off to the bench because he got hit with that last Chicago shot, and he was really limping.
Darryl Sutter, the miracle man for the Blackhawks, looking around, wondering if there would be a whistle there as he was dragged down from behind.
I think Huddy's all right, but we've got an update on Keith Brown's condition for the Chicago Blackhawks. He apparently has got a bruised hip.
And he is still in the dressing room. Already the Blackhawks playing without their valuable defenseman Doug Wilson. Secord and Savard trying to get it in. And Gretzky back the other way. Gretzky sets it up for Curry, but he is turned around. And back come the Hawks. 3-on-2. Savard, and now Curry is still down. And play is blown down by referee Don Koharski as Curry very slowly getting to his feet. And I would assume there's a penalty being called here on the Blackhawks.
You can see Jari Kurri, who did a spin around there and then went down, but of course he was hooked. That is the reason why Jari Kurri went down, and went down fairly hard.
No penalty is being called. Why was play stopped?
Well, the only reason, most likely, was the fact that the puck was in the neutralized area, and Jari Kurri apparently was injured behind the play, and so referee Don Koharski blew the whistle.
Blackhawks had a 3, maybe 4-on-2 break, and Bob Pulford now is steaming. That's Bob Pulford steaming. All right, there's 43 seconds to go, and the Edmonton penalty to Gregg. Gretzky, who this season had 11 shorthanded goals. Realize he had more shorthanded goals than power play goals this year? 3 more. Man in front is Larmer. It is Savard. Tries to roll it in front. Larmer back to the point. Ben Wilson returns to Larmer. Savard works from behind. 15 seconds on the power play. Secord steps in and dumps low. Right in front, Larmer can't get the shot off. And the Oilers bust out with Gretzky awaiting the pass and gets it. Messier in the corner, looks in front. Coffey misses the shot. Point blank. 15 feet in front of Bannerman. And the penalty is over.
The Oilers just don't try to kill a penalty. It's quite obvious. Every time they get possession of the puck, even in their own end zone, they rush up ice with it and try to get a scoring opportunity. They are so dangerous when they are killing a penalty.
In the playoffs, the Oilers have 4 power play goals, and they have 4 shorthanded goals. So they've been just effective down a man as they are up a man. 1:50 left in this first period. 2-1, the Oilers lead the Blackhawks. Semenko doing his Gretzky impersonation. Drops it back to Curry. Curry kicks at it. And the fans are up here for Semenko, who says hello to Bob Murray.
Quite a difference in size there. Number 27, Dave Semenko, just towering over number 6 for the Blackhawks, Bob Murray. You mentioned Semenko's great style. He really did do a great job with the puck.
All right, let's go to Al Trotwood.
Al,
Some goaltenders would like to replace their goalie stick with a piece of that plexiglass that goes around 4 by 6 feet.
You're right about that, especially against this team.
Oilers, Coffey closing in, drills it, scores!
I'll tell you one thing, Paul Coffey is fresh and ready to go. He just winds up with his shot at the top of the circle. This man can shoot a puck. He can skate. There's not many greater at doing what he does best in the National Hockey League behind that blue line. Paul Coffey, forget about worrying about Gretzky. Paul Coffey himself can simply win a hockey game on specific nights, and he has done that in the past.
And here's Curry, 3-1. The Oilers now lead. That was the 18th shot on Bannerman in this first period. Gretzky, the backhand pass. Bannerman pounces on it. Here's Krushelnyski, hits the side of the net. Gretzky got the face-off back to Curry. Those two get the assists. 18:25, the time of Coffey's goal. Gardner right in front. With a minute to go in this first period. Diving for it. The Blackhawks loves it. And it is Coffey out to Gretzky. Cross ice, he has Curry. And he's turned around by Wilson, but Curry's still able to put it in front. Gretzky at the blue line. Floats it to Curry on the screen. And he tried to get the stick on it. 35 seconds to go. Edmonton looking for one more. That's Coffey's 7th playoff goal. He's now 2 shy of the playoff record for defensemen held by Bobby Orr and Brad Park. 9 goals in a playoff. 20 seconds left. Al Secord looking for a busting Savard along with Larmer. Low with Larmer. 10 seconds to go. Fogelin winds it around. Kept in. It's blocked by the defense. Just 3 seconds, and the Oilers will not be able to beat the clock. So Grant Fuhr in goal for the first time in 9 days. He had a pretty good workout. The shots on goal, Fuhr faced 12 shots from the Chicago Blackhawks, while Bannerman faced 19 shots from the Edmonton Oilers in that first period. Coming up, Al Secord, the valuable Chicago Blackhawk. They say he's the heart and soul of this team, and he'll be joining Al Trautwig, our heart and soul. The score after 1 period of play, it's the Oilers 3 and the Blackhawks 1. We'll return with our first intermission right after these words. Against Quebec, which starts tomorrow night in Quebec City, and the Oilers are certainly not looking past the Blackhawks right here.
Glenn Sather has this team trained pretty well. They are not looking past game number 1 here.
Here's Messier busting in, cross ice, and it is Laziak, the veteran for the Blackhawks, starting out. The Blackhawks into the Edmonton zone. Sutter the shot, and Fuhr covers it up. And now it is a pass by Messier. Jerome Dupont smacks it back the other way. Kevin Lowe, number 4. Sutter breaks that up. Lysiak already in the zone, so an offside is called against the Chicago Blackhawks.
We'll take a moment right now to remind you that this game is authorized.
Blackhawks now on the road certainly cannot match up their defensive line against the Gretzky line. The line of Troy Murray with Kurt Fraser and Olchuk. And as far as Sather's concerned, Gary, he really doesn't care who he matches his lines up against.
Didn't appear to care too much in that first period.
Here's the steal by Troy Murray. Murray stays with it, as did Grant Fuhr. Fraser right in front, but Murray is checked from behind by Melnick. Olchuk goes flying, and Troy Murray picks up the puck. This is that line. Fraser right in front, and Murray may have had the shot himself, but passes it off. We're a minute into the second period in Edmonton. Ben Wilson goes back. Lindstrom unable to hold on in the slot. And Wilson having trouble with Hunter. Lindstrom comes in. He rolls it in front. McClellan behind the net. Turned around there by O'Callaghan. Watch those two. McClellan will go at the drop of a puck as he takes a run at number 19, Troy Murray. Both clubs trying to get organized to start this second period. The shot up high over the glove of Grant Fuhr. Troy Murray, who led North Dakota to the college championship several years ago, just 22 years of age. The steal by Larmer. The shot by Fraser, and it just slides wide. Gretzky gets it out to Hunter. Hunter circles back. Bergevin with the poke check sends it into the Edmonton Oilers zone, but an offside is called against the Blackhawks. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs only on USA Sports. Oilers 3, Blackhawks 1. And now the line of Savard, Secord, and Larmer. The big line for the Blackhawks go up against the big line of the Oilers, with Gretzky centering for Curry, and now it is Semenko on the left wing.
This line for the Blackhawks, Al, they have really got to produce offensively in this series against Edmonton.
For most of the season, Mike Krushelnyski on the left wing became a 40-goal scorer. Bergevin's shot, and it's tipped wide. Semenko gets it out to Gretzky. Gretzky puts it on the stick of Curry. Wrist shot right in the glove of Bannerman, and that is one of the easier shots he has had to contend with tonight.
This man will no doubt see a lot of ice time in this series, but that all depends on how the series goes. I'm sure that Glenn Sather realizes that Wayne Gretzky has had a long season, not only just because of the amount of ice time he receives, Al, but Wayne Gretzky is so great with the public and with the media. He gives undivided attention. He has a problem, in fact, of not being able to say no. And his father, Walter, has said that, in fact, that is Wayne's biggest drawbacks in this game. He is so popular, but yet he tries to give everybody a piece of his time.
Well, trying to give Bannerman a piece of the puck right there. 3-1, Edmonton leads Chicago, and it's Secord busting out, but the pass is too long. Savard comes back for it. In Gretzky and Savard, you are perhaps seeing two of the most spectacular players in the NHL as they go head-to-head in this series. And Savard comes in with 19 playoff points, along with Peter Stastny and Gretzky, the leading playoff scorers.
This man isn't a bad scorer himself. Steve Larmer, in fact, Larmer had an excellent season this year, accounting 46 goals, second highest in points overall for the Chicago Blackhawks, of course, behind Dennis Savard, but led the Chicago Blackhawks in goals. He has got great hands, and by that I mean he has got a soft touch with the puck. Remember, he's a left-hand shooter playing the right wing side, and he plays very, very well with Dennis Savard.
And there he is, forechecking on Coffey. Not bad for a 6th-round draft pick, Steve Larmer, who won the Rookie of the Year award. Now in his 3rd season with Chicago, and trying to get on the board here to bring the Blackhawks back to within 1. We have played 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the second period. Charlie Huddy, who has scored a goal, his first playoff goal here tonight. Plays it back the other way. Secor takes a run at Coffey. Gretzky is turned around, and here's Curry streaking in. Curry right in front, scores! What a move!
Jari Kurri was worried about keeping his scoring touch in the playoffs. I don't think there's much concern right now. We saw Wayne Gretzky actually set up a block, and a good play by Gretzky. That allowed lots of room for Jari Kurri to come down that right wing board side. And there you see Kurri, and look, he is watching. You can see him with his head up. He was looking for Dave Semenko, who was over on the left wing side. Just a beautiful play by Kurri. Poor Murray Bannerman didn't know what to do.
Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes. Curry, it's don't shoot till you see the white of the ice. Curry gets the goal. Gretzky and Coffey the assist at 3:38 of this second period, and the Edmonton Oilers have now taken a 4-1 lead over the Chicago Blackhawks. From the point, Hozar, actually before it got back there, unleashes. So Gretzky now with a couple of assists, and Coffey with a goal and an assist. Krushelnyski is dumped. Low kicked out by Bannerman. 21 shots on Bannerman in the game. And it's taken off by Rick Patterson. Hozar goes chasing after him. Ben Wilson behind the net to Bob Murray. Lead pass intercepted by Pozar. Low cross ice to Fogelin, the veteran defensive defenseman, paired together now as the Edmonton Oilers have a 3-goal lead. Here is Low back for it, being pushed by Bob Murray, the defenseman who goes deep for the Blackhawks. 15:20 left in period number 2. Jerome Dupont chases it back for Chicago, now rounds in front of his own net. And the Blackhawks come back. Sutter trying to creep behind the defense. Anderson pulled down, and a penalty coming up to Jerome Dupont. So it is getting worse and worse for the Blackhawks. They have fallen down by 3 goals, and now Edmonton will have a power play as Dupont will go off with 15:07 remaining in this second period.
You can't catch him, drag him down. Well, not a good move by number 25, Jerome Dupont, who gets a holding penalty. 4:53 was the time. He could not catch Glenn Anderson. Anderson caught Dupont flat-footed just over the blue line, and as a result, Dupont just stuck out that left arm of his and hauled down number 9 for the Oilers, Glenn Anderson. Anderson can draw a lot of penalties. He has excellent speed.
Bob Pulford minus 2 of his key defensemen. Here's Huddy, who swings and misses. Napier circling. Out it goes to Huddy with a goal already. Messier will take a look. Huddy, cross ice to Coffey. Huddy slaps it in the slot. Save and score! Bannerman made the initial save. It's now 5-1.
Did Napier get a piece of it? It sure appeared as though number 18, watching right in the middle of your screen, Mark Napier, may have just touched that puck enough to make a change direction, giving Murray Bannerman some real problems. There you could see, I am certain that number 18, Mark Napier, deflected that puck, and that's a tough one on Bannerman. I think he had it until the change of direction. The Oilers are really running away with this game right now.
A power play goal for Napier, his 5th goal of the playoffs. 5:18 is the time, and it's 5-1 in favor of Edmonton as they continue on the attack. Anderson and Huddy get the assists. Still looks like a power play. Huddy, or rather Griggs, and it's kicked out. So the Blackhawks down by 4. A near break there for Yaremchuk, who has been their goal scorer tonight. So 2 goals come quickly for the Blackhawks, or rather for the Oilers. One at 3:38, and the next at 5:18. A minute 40 apart. And Chicago back the other way, and they go in offside. For our local systems, we pause now. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs live only on USA Sports. Well, the Edmonton Oilers just getting by in that first round against Los Angeles, winning 3 games, essentially all by 1 goal. Started to bust out in the final game against Winnipeg. They had won the first 3 against the Jets, but not in rounds. 8-3 in the final game, and here they're picking up where they left off 9 days later. In game number 1 against Chicago, 5-1, the Oilers lead. And we still have 13.5 minutes to go in the second period. Bob Murray in front for the stop was Gretzky. And Chicago, everybody overskating the puck, so Troy Murray shoots it out.
The Blackhawks are really rattled right now, and that's understandable. Down 5-1 early in the second period yet.
There's Gretzky, even without a stick, almost got an assist on that play. Olczyk, cross ice, Troy Murray off the crossbar, right in front, and it's flipped to the side by Lowe. Gretzky picks it up off the boards, but an offside against the Oilers. So here are the Hawks down by 4, and they get the shot on the open net, and they hit the crossbar.
That's the way things go, Al, when you are not playing all that well, then you don't necessarily get the breaks. The ultra slow-mo, it'll show you that Grant Fuhrer came across from his right to his left, and he was down, but he wasn't in time. He just had a lot of help from that crossbar.
So Grant Fuhrer, who comes in with a playoff goal average of 2.58. He is 7-0 in the 7 Edmonton games. Savoy feeds cross ice, Larmer, and Fuhrer goes up high to make the save. Kevin McClellan, rough customer for the Oilers, wraps it out to center ice and now picks it up himself. He is dumped by Secord. Keep an eye on those two. Both of them will scrap. Here's McClellan. Lindstrom cuts in. Kick save by Bannerman. 24th shot he has faced tonight. Back the other way. Dupont for the Blackhawks. Ricochets right in front, and Fuhrer helps out his teammates. Coffey starting it out. Here is McClellan heading in. Turned around, and he is dumped to the ice. 12 minutes to go in this second period here in Edmonton. Lysiak eludes the check from Pozar. And waiting already in the zone was Sutter, and he gets very upset at himself. The place to stay for exclusive coverage of Stanley Cup playoffs is only on USA. Face-off at center ice. The crowd really has come to life here, Gary, with their team leading by 4.
Now, this crowd's a funny one. They aren't content with just winning. They want a team to get slaughtered, and of course they want the Oilers just to completely dominate. They're seeing that right now. We're going to get another opportunity to see one of the prettiest goals, and that is because of the way that Jari Kurri scored it. First of all, Wayne Gretzky, number 99, made a great blocking play. Now watch Kurri. He has got his head up constantly. He's looking for that man right in the middle of your screen, number 27, Dave Semenko. He just chooses to shoot instead. Good choice. He scored.
And released so quickly. Now you see it, now you don't. 11 and a half minutes to go in this second period. And the puck goes into the crowd, and we'll have a face-off outside the Edmonton line.
Al, it's been quite obvious that if you're going to beat this Edmonton Oilers scoring machine, and if you look at the Chicago bench, you're going to have to not only outwork them, you're going to have to play close checking hockey. That was quite obvious in the first series. Los Angeles almost beat Edmonton, and had it not been for some fine goaltending by Grant Fuhr, they just may have pulled it off.
You took a look at Warren Skorodensky, the backup goaltender on the Chicago bench, probably wondering if he may see action before this night is out. Hughes plays it ahead for Edmonton. Back it goes to Hughes. Ridden to the boards by Wilson. Ozar takes a run at Bob Murray for the Blackhawks. And now Lutzik shoots it in. Patterson, 26, takes a shot at the gloves of Gregg. Ben Wilson for Chicago, and he sends it in. Fuhr want to get a chance to touch that puck, comes out and stops it for his teammates. Ozar rifles it ahead. Hughes takes it off the stick of Bergevin, but Patterson is back for Chicago. Lysiak goes cross ice, intercepted by Napier. And low for the Edmonton Oilers to his defensive partner, Randy Gregg. Lysiak picks it up, but he is virtually all alone. The poke check by Anderson to get it away from Sutter. And now Lowe. A nice move as two Hawks were right on top of him. 5-1, Edmonton leads. Anderson to Messier, puts on the brakes. Dumped to the ice by O'Callahan. More trouble for the Blackhawks. O'Callahan goes off for two, and the Oilers will have a man advantage. For our local systems, we pause now. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs live on USA.
Number 5 for the Blackhawks, Jack O'Callahan in the penalty box right now. 2 minutes for holding was the call. 9:57 was the time. Let's go to ultra slow-mo, and you will see exactly why Jack O'Callahan is sitting in the penalty box right now.
So the Oilers with a 5-1 lead have the man advantage. We are midway in the second period here in Edmonton. Coffey slaps it to Messier. He is crunched into the boards, and the puck is sent out. Now the chase is on. Gardner along with Coffey. And Coffey being ridden all the way by Gardner. Gardner looking for Patterson. Very effective penalty-killing unit for the Blackhawks. Anderson got it all started. He scored the first goal for the Oilers tonight. Messier hits the red line. Weaving through traffic. Staying right with the puck. 35 seconds gone by in the power play. Napier cross ice, and it deflects off the skate of Patterson right on goal.
Bannerman getting an opportunity to make an easy save against the Oilers for a change. Ben Wilson, number 23 for the Blackhawks, had a chance to not only take his man out, but to really take him out hard along the board. The Blackhawks have got to do something along those lines to get back into this game. Even though they're killing a penalty right now, you get a chance to take an Oiler out of the play, take him out, and take him out with some force. Show them that you mean business here tonight. Obviously, the score does not show the Blackhawks mean business.
Well, the Oilers do. They're up by 4 and now come out with a line of Gretzky, Curry, and Semenko with Coffey and Huddy at the points. Bob Murray off the boards, slapped around, kept in by Huddy. Gretzky. And it's intercepted, and Chicago comes back. Steve Lutzik, the long shot, and Fuhr steers that into the corner. A minute to go in the power play for the Oilers. Gretzky racing with Bergevin, and Bannerman helps out his defenseman. Not cleared out by Lutzik, and now it is 2-on-2 for the Blackhawks, but it is finally whistled down the high stick. Troy Murray taking that pass with a stick over his shoulder.
Yari Curry, a man that has not received the recognition. We've talked about that during the course of the year on USA when we have seen Yari Curry and the Edmonton Oilers in action. He has not received the recognition that he so rightfully deserves. He is a tremendous goal scorer. He proved that during the course of this season when he was able to score 71 goals. But yet, Yari Curry has to start promoting himself a little bit better as well, Al. He doesn't do many interviews. He won't really
Well,
get along with the press and media, and if he's going to receive exposure, he's got to take some lessons from Wayne Gretzky.
there is Curry. Huddy. And it's wrapped away by Murray. As Coffey comes out, can't get it. Troy Murray for the Blackhawks sails that one into the crowd. 23 seconds to go on the penalty to the Blackhawks. O'Callaghan.
As you look at Troy Murray, one of the players for the Blackhawks that is definitely very capable of playing a good, strong, aggressive game against his team, the Edmonton Oilers. And I go back to an earlier statement I made of the fact that you cannot play the Edmonton Oilers type of game. Al, if you try and play their style and try to beat them at what they do, you're not going to succeed. You got to take their game away from them right now, and that is obviously their offense and their abilities to maneuver out there with possession of the puck. The Blackhawks have got to get down to doing some heavy body checking, forechecking, and good hard work, but tight checking hockey.
8 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the second period. 12 seconds in the power play. Certainly enough time for Gretzky to move it down ice. Here's Gregg, poised. He drills it, tipped by Krushelnyski. And Bannerman gobbles it up.
Those Oilers standing in front of the net tonight have given Murray Bannerman some problems earlier. And it is not fair to allow that to happen to Murray Bannerman. Watches that shot. The ultra slow-mo comes back from the point. And you can see Bannerman making the save, but he had to do so with some difficulty. Tip-ins, deflections in front of the net when you are not having good coverage is a sure route to disaster.
Krushelnyski right on top of the goal. A 43-goal scorer for the Oilers this year, coming over from the Boston Bruins in return for Ken Linseman. A trade that made both teams happy. Lindstrom fires it behind Ben Wilson. Seeing a lot of ice time here tonight. Sends it out. Picked up by Savard. Savard putting on the moves. Off the screen. Shoots, and he just whistles it wide. Dupont loses, and Lindstrom, along with McClellan. It is Lindstrom. Puts on the brakes. And it is cleared. Teams now at equal strength. Secord gets him ahead to Savard. Savard. Ben Wilson drops it to Secord. Secord just standing, now fires, but high. Savard clears it in front, and now Lindstrom back the other way. With Dave Hunter. He is stopped by Ben Wilson. And the Blackhawks wind it back out. Steve Larmer with Savard. Savard stays with it. And his shot goes wide. Blackhawks now having the problem just putting the puck on net. McClellan has Coffey with him. Back pass to Hughes, who cuts in front. And he is then sandwiched by Bergevin and Sutter. 6 minutes, 50 seconds left in this second period of play. Edmonton 5 and the Blackhawks 1. Edmonton beat the Hawks 3 times in 3 games during the regular season. Yaremchuk, the goal scorer tonight for the Hawks. Poke checked away, but he stays with it. There goes Yaremchuk's helmet and the glove. And a whistle by the referee, Don Koharski, and he is calling a penalty on Edmonton. We hope you're enjoying the Stanley Cup playoffs here on USA. We'll be back in a moment.
The man in the box for the Oilers, number 10, Yaroslav Pozar. 2 minutes for high sticking, and there is the high stick on Ken Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk lost his helmet, his glove, and right after that, of course, referee Don Koharski sent Pozar to the penalty box, and this will give the Blackhawks an opportunity on the power play.
Pozar playing just his 3rd game in the playoffs. Gets the nod, dressed here tonight. But on the shorthanded situation, here comes Edmonton as they quickly get it out of their zone and put it in the Blackhawks zone. Darrow Sutter cranks it up. 6 minutes to go in the second period. Troy Murray back to the point to Wilson. Goes cross ice, O'Callaghan, side of the net, and the tip on goal by Lysiak. Here's Wilson. Looking, the shot, and another tip. That by Sutter, who is dumped in front by Huddy. O'Callaghan, cross ice to Wilson. He fires. Saved by Fuhr. Rebound, Sutter. but no room with Honey falling in front of Fuhr. And Messier back the other way with Ben Wilson waiting for him. Messier, lead pass. Honey unable to reach back for it on the pass by Coffey. Secord really moving down the wing. And now he fans out into the corner. Pass to Larmer. Comes back to the point. Bob Murray, his shot is high. Savard gets it caught in his skates. And here's a break for Gretzky with Curry. One man back. Gretzky angling in. Curry scores!
It's really unfortunate. The Blackhawks on the power play had such excellent opportunities. They had good possession of the puck. But then right here, they slip up. Billy Gardner hit. He got caught 2-on-1. The wrong guys to have a 2-on-1 again. Number 99, Wayne Gretzky's got his head up. He takes a look. He feeds that pass over to who else but Jari Kurri. And Kurri wastes no time at all. Puts it home. Another shorthanded goal for the Oilers.
They're fifth in their playoffs. They had 25 during the regular season to lead the NHL in that category. As Kurri gets his second goal, he now has 8 in the playoffs after a slow start. He has 5 in his last 2 games. And it's 6-1 in favor of the Oilers. Let's go now to Al Trautwig. Gretzky now with 3 assists in this game, and he takes over the scoring lead in the playoffs with 21 points. 2 ahead of Savard and Peter Stastny. Gretzky has done it in 8 games. Stastny has played 12. Still a power play for the Blackhawks, but it has only 4 seconds of life.
I think that last goal was a pretty good example of about Wayne Gretzky. Not only unselfish when it comes to his time and with the media, but boy, he's pretty unselfish when it comes to that puck.
Savard, and it is kicked out. And you can hardly fault Bannerman tonight. He has faced 28 shots already, and a question of whether Bob Pulford will take him out for the third period to give him a rest. He has played every game. Lawrence Skorodensky waiting anxiously on the bench. Or maybe for against Edmonton, not so anxious.
Not a bad point.
That's right. All right, here's Patterson for the Blackhawks with 3:50 left. Lutzig the shot, split save, rebound, and it is shot wide. Fuhr has had a terrific game for him coming off the layoff, and we'll explain that in a second. Krushelnyski offside. Not that he was tested, but it's the kind of game he'd like to play after being off the ice for 9 days. We'll be back here in Edmonton after these words. Well, the crowd here at the Northlands Coliseum applauding for more. The Oilers lead the Blackhawks by the score of 6-1. And we still have 3.5 minutes to go in the second period of play. An offensive show being put on by the offensive machine of the National Hockey League, the Edmonton Oilers. They scored 401 goals during the regular season this year. That is 5 per game. That's less than they scored last year.
They were thinking much more defensively this year out.
45 goals less than last year. We have 3 minutes to go in this second period. As Ben Wilson for the Blackhawks flips it in front. Randy Gregg leaves it. Anderson can't get it out. Fraser kicks it in front. And Larry Melnick, number 28, tying up the Hawks behind the net. Gregg, lead pass off the stick of Messier. Fraser loses to Anderson. And Randy Gregg goes back for it for the Oilers. Plays it around. Melnick gets a bump from Fraser. Bergeron right in front. Troy Murray unable to hold on. He gets knocked around by Melnick. Came over from the Boston Bruins. Fraser, a man right on him. 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go in this second period. 2 Oilers are back there. Fraser continues to dig as he does so well. Bergevin from the point moves closer. Tied up there by Anderson. 4, 6 players, 7 players now on the scene, and you know that's puck's not going to come out.
Well, as you see, a young Oiler fan giving us the wave. It's quite obvious that the Edmonton Oilers have improved over the course of the last year and a half, especially, Al, maybe 2 years. their defensive play in their own end zone. You saw lots of help back in behind when they have been under pressure. The Blackhawks really couldn't do much with it down there. They were not being, or getting the opportunity, I should say, to outnumber the Oilers deep.
A minute 50 left in this second period of play. The Oilers have outscored the Blackhawks 3-0 after taking a 3-1 lead in the first period. And here is Coffey winding it up. Goes cross ice. Hunter right in front, but it's deflected by the Blackhawk defense. Sutter with Yaremchuk, but they don't get very far. A minute 20 left in the second period. Lindstrom, the veteran, plays it back, and Huddy has to go to get it. Wraps it off the board, and right there was Coffey. Lead pass right on the stick of Hunter. The long shot, and it goes through the glove of Bannerman, but that shot too high. On the screen, score! Bannerman didn't see it. 7-1.
The Oilers just keep taking it higher. Right from a position you don't see a lot of goals scored from, especially because it was so close along the boards initially. Charlie Huddy got away a shot that was almost a floating shot, and you could see the reaction there on Murray Bannerman's face. Where was it? Well, it was behind him already. Just picked the top corner. An unusual shot. But then again, the Edmonton Oilers come up with a lot of unusual goals and a lot of unusual offensive ways to do it.
So Huddy now ties Jari Kurri for the scoring lead in this game, goal scoring, his second of the evening. And these are his first 2 goals in the playoffs. He scored 7 during the regular season. 7-1, the Oilers lead. And now it's Chicago back the other way with 50 seconds to go in the second period. Savard in front. Olczyk all alone. Rejected by Buren. Here's Gretzky breaking in. Gretzky shoots, and he fires it wide. 30 seconds to go. And the Oilers with a 6-goal lead still on the attack. Kurri almost sweeps it away. And Chicago with Olczyk, who had the golden opportunity. Kurri with 18 seconds left. The Oilers think that's one more thrust, and here it is. Kurri has Gretzky. Gretzky finds it in his skates, but he was in before the puck. Olczyk has a couple of words with Kurri, who put the puck in the net after the whistle blew, which is a no-no, an unwritten rule. And with 11 seconds left in the second period, the teams have a confrontation in the neutral zone.
The Oilers are just picking the Chicago Blackhawks apart. Exactly, Al, what you and I talked about before the game. They could not afford to do. And we will watch the replay and the opportunity here that the Blackhawks had. And number 16, Olczyk, just had all the time, but yet no room because Grant Fuhr really played him well. He came out, cut down the angle. And then, of course, this was the Gretzky opportunity right after that. Gretzky had a perfect chance, but yet he was being hampered on his shot, so did not really get away the type of shot that Gretzky can usually get from that type of angle.
Final seconds, maybe a last shot for the Oilers. 2 seconds, 1. And there's the siren. A 4-goal second period for the Oilers. Grant Fuhr facing 9 shots in that second period. And Murray Bannerman facing 9 shots. So through 2 periods of play, the Oilers now with 28 shots on goal, and the Blackhawks with 21. Coming up in between periods, a close-up look at the Oilers head coach Glenn Sather. That's coming up in between periods. Glenn Sather's team up by 6. The score after 2. Edmonton 7, Chicago 1. And we'll return with our second intermission right after these words.
No matter how cool, calm, and content Glenn Sather, the hockey executive, may look these days as he watches his Edmonton Oilers practice, it's hard for a lot of people to forget Glenn Sather, the player. Not long ago, in the 60s and early 70s, he seemed anything but cool or content as a feisty, scrappy journeyman whose 11-year pro career was spent with 7 teams. A lot of people, in fact, can't believe that this is the same guy, and that suits Sather just fine.
People get an idea of you. They conjure up this, there's a fantasy about you that everyone perceives you as being one way, and you're not that way. But it's probably a good thing for me to have people believe that I'm like that, because they underestimate me, and I use that as an edge.
And use it he did. The savvy Sather became the playing coach of the Oilers in the late 70s, while the team was still in the World Hockey Association. By 1980, Edmonton was in the NHL, and Sather, at just 36, became the full-time coach, as well as the team's president and general manager. As the Oilers, built around the nucleus of Wayne Gretzky, had become one of the league's most entertaining and successful teams, Sather himself has prospered, not only as a hockey executive, but as a pretty convincing salesman. Cool, smooth, and confident. In short, an ad man's dream.
This is the last stop on the tour, our dressing room.
Looks very tidy to me. May I take a picture, Glenn?
Pretty much your average dressing room, except for one thing. We've installed Wall-Tech washerless faucets and hand showers, and our players think they're great. I demand the best for my players and the Oiler organization, and that's why I chose Wall-Tech.
Can I quote you?
Where are you?
I'll be out in a minute.
She's got her story.
And if Sather seemed sure of himself in that commercial for bathroom fixtures, he was just as sure of what he had to do during his playing career.
I mean, I knew what my role was on those hockey teams, and I wanted to play in the National Hockey League, so that's what I became. That's what they needed. I was perfectly happy to do the job to stay there. Now, if I could have scored 40 goals a year, I'd have done that job. But the job that I did kept me in the National Hockey League for 11 years. That's what I had to do to stay. I was a role player.
And what was that role? Well, see if you can spot what the referee didn't. Sather, wearing number 6 for the New York Rangers, enters your picture in the upper right-hand corner. That's him dumping the Boston Bruins' Johnny McKenzie by using his stick like a pitchboard. Then, before McKenzie can recover, that's Sather tackling Phil Esposito in the slot. When Sather said he was a role player, he was spelling it R-O-L-L.
When I started to play hockey, I recognized that I wasn't going to be a star, so I thought I'd better start planning my life around that fact. And the money that I earned, I invested. And I worked in the summer, and I said, prepare myself. And the preparation that I did along those lines in order to be able to take care of myself financially when I was finished playing hockey, which I thought would be as soon as I had a bad practice. It didn't work out like that. I played for a long time, and I enjoyed it. But the preparation that I did really prepared me for the job that I'm doing now. One of the things that I tell my players as soon as they get to training camp is, as soon as you sign your first pro contract, you better start thinking about what you're going to do when you're finished. Because every one of the guys in the dressing room on our team at some point in time are going to be without a job. And I'm going to probably be the guy that tells you that I don't want you on our team any longer. For either you've been there 15 years and you're too old, or you've been there 2 years and you can't play on it any longer because the team's got to be too good.
The thing about Glenn Sather is that when he did play, he was a player that had to come to the rink every day and work hard. And if he didn't, then he'd lose his job. And he expects that from his players because he does that as a coach and general manager. He works very hard, and he doesn't expect anything less than 100% effort. And anybody who doesn't give that effort won't be on the hockey team.
In my situation, I don't have anyone to blame. I have to accept the blame for all three of them. If the team loses, the coach did a lousy job. If the trade doesn't work, then the general manager's done a lousy job. And the guy that picked those two people as the president has done a lousy job in what his job has been. So it's easy for Peter, if something goes wrong, to come and get after me. Only have one guy to go to.
Peter is Peter Pocklington, the high-profile owner of the Oilers. And while Sather may claim that Pocklington is the guy he has to answer to, how many NHL coaches go on fishing trips with the boss?
He's an achiever. He wants to be successful. He has a positive attitude about life. And I think I have the same attitudes, and we just got along and became friends. But we were two people working for the same goal, and we're still, two people working for the same goal, and we became friends through our work. But Peter didn't know me from a hole in the ground when I started to play in Edmonton, and I didn't know who he was either. In fact, when I was coaching the team, he came in the dressing room and had a pair of blue jeans on, and I said, you come in here again, and it's going to cost you $100. You can't wear blue jeans in the hockey club.
That's Glenn Sather, brash and outspoken. He has opinions on just about everything, including the way some of his peers do their jobs.
Well, I have a theory about salaries in the National Hockey League. I think that a lot of the salaries that are given to players that don't deserve them are given to them by general managers that are afraid of their jobs. And instead of arguing with the player, you get into them. And all it does is escalate the salaries and put teams out of business eventually. But what it does is preserves that general manager's job for a little while longer. He gets the player. I mean, if your budget is $200,000 or $300,000 short at the end of the year and you have a player on the ice, your job is a little more secure than if you have a budget that's right on the money and not the player. You can't play money. You have to have the player on the ice, and you have to have them happy.
How would you describe your relationship overall with the press, and how do you view the role that they have to play?
First of all, I don't think that I get along that poorly with the press. I find that I'll spend time with someone that I respect, somebody that's done his homework, that is prepared, they know what they're talking about. I won't spend time with someone that's, I guess, a rookie. And some press really don't like that. I can't blame them. But the job that I've got to do is a hard job, and there's a lot of pressure involved in it. And sometimes you get a little short-tempered with people, and maybe that's one of the things that I should try and correct. I should be a little more patient with them. But I don't have the time to be patient.
During the hockey season, maybe that's true. Once it's over, Sather sheds his corporate image and wardrobe and heads for the outdoors. Banff, Alberta especially is a place that's been near and dear to his heart since he was a teenager. It is here, where Sather owns some property and a saloon, that a side of him emerges that very few people see during the season.
Oh, yeah, I ride and fish all summer. I mean, I've climbed most of the mountains in the park. We went there as a lifeguard when I was 16, and that's been my home since then. But, I mean, I know the wardens, and I have a lot of good friends that are a long, long way away from the hockey world. You know, we talk about bears and horses and shoeing horses, colic. You can talk about anything with those guys, and it's totally removed from what I do in the wintertime.
Let's get back to the ice. Is it possible to have a successful season and not win the Stanley Cup?
You play 80 games in a year just to get the right to get into the playoffs, and then a team can get hot in the playoffs and knock you off in 3 games or 2 games. And it's all over with. You can have an incredible year. It's a tough grind. But if you get there and you win the Stanley Cup, you're a hell of a hockey team.
Series against Minnesota when Bannerman had a stomach cramp, faced 14 shots against the North Stars and gave up 2 goals. 25-year-old Warren Skorodensky, who this year played 27 games at a 3.22 goal average with 2 shutouts, and played in 2 of the games against Edmonton, losing those 2.
Al, I think it's important right now, as you look at the Edmonton Oilers bench, the Chicago Blackhawks, they can't worry about winning tonight's hockey game. They have to set the pace for game number 2, and by that, I mean they have got to start playing some close, tight checking hockey with lots of intensity, start taking the body out there and outworking these Oilers, and hopefully that will carry across to game number 2.
Ben Wilson puts it in front. Well, Bob Pulford making the change in goal. Skorodensky, after Bannerman, faced 28 shots through the first 2 periods, 19 in the first. Kevin Lowe onto the stick of Messier. Yaremchuk wraps it back the other way. Here is Napier. 5 playoff goals. Circles out and gets away from his man. Messier on the left wing. In front to Napier. And the shot and the save by Skorodensky as Anderson, the trailer, get the shot off. Yaremchuk, the digger. Reminds me of Butch Goring on the ice. Maybe it's the helmet.
I think that's a pretty good resemblance, at least in the way that Yaremchuk hustles out there. We all recall the way that Butch Goring has always played the game, and that is with plenty of hustle, 100% desire, and of course Yaremchuk plays exactly that way out there.
That offside call against the Blackhawks as Murray Bannerman gets a well-deserved rest, looks at the scoreboard, sees that 7 up there on the Oilers, and shakes his head. And he cannot be faulted tonight.
I don't think you can say Murray Bannerman played a bad game, and wow, that is amazing when you look at the fact that the scoreboard says Oilers 7, Blackhawks 1. But Murray Bannerman didn't have a lot of help in front of him at times. A few of those goals were tipped in.
And here is Lindstrom breaking in. Scores! And
now we have a goal that's shoveled in.
Willie Lindstrom, the veteran, with a man on his back.
Nice little pass from McClellan, and there goes Lindstrom. He's got Jack O'Callahan, number 5 for the Blackhawks, with his stick kind of wrapped around Lindstrom. Look at O'Callahan's stick. It's right up underneath of Lindstrom's arms, and that is how I feel that goal was pretty amazing. Lindstrom just shoveled the puck right by Skorodenski.
And it is 8-1 in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. Lindstrom's first playoff goal this year. He has played in every game for the Oilers. So Skorodenski is nailed on his second shot. Back the other way, Savard. Twisting and turning. Can't get away from Gregg. Hocek back into the Edmonton end. 8-1, the Oilers lead. The most goals they've ever scored in a game is 13. Here's Hunter, right in front, sliding Skorodenski, who is a very acrobatic and colorful goaltender. Gregg and Melnick get the assists on the goal at 1:17. All right, it is Gretzky in the zone, puts on the brakes, cross ice to Curry. Curry, who has already taken 7 shots in this game. Coffey back the other way. Gretzky fires up high, and Skorodenski goes that high and makes the save. Coffey cannot keep it in, but he has several of his teammates back there to get it.
You mentioned the point about Jari Kurri in 2 periods having 7 shots. The old theory holds true. If you don't shoot, you're not going to score. Jari Kurri has made a lot of shots all year long. He's also made a lot of goals happen for the Edmonton Oilers. Same thing holds true tonight.
Well, the whistle blows with 7:18 to go in this third period. Coast-to-coast coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs only on USA. Welcome back to the Northlands Coliseum, where it has been all of the home team tonight. 8-1, the Edmonton Oilers. Perhaps not only sending the message to the Chicago Blackhawks, but also to the Philadelphia Flyers and the Quebec Nordiques. Possible meeting in the next round. Here is Gardner, steps right in, but fans on the shot. One of the rare golden opportunities for the Blackhawks here tonight. It is Fogelin. And it comes all the way down as Skorodenski raises his arm, but plays the puck. Icing was waved off. We are 3.5 minutes into this third period. And we have gone to the record book. Krushelnyski, there's the shot. Skorodenski, a knuckleball, comes in and he's able to stay with it. Hozar, checked there by Savard. Hozar digs it out. The Oilers will not stop. The backhand, and Skorodenski blocked it. The highest goal total for the Oilers in their playoff history is 10 goals. The most goals they've ever scored in a game is 13. They did it a couple of years ago against the New Jersey Devils. And they have 8 now with 16 minutes still to go. Savard. Now flying again, puts on the brakes. He does so well. Backhands it in front, and the Blackhawks are covered. Fraser. O'Callahan is in deep, and he may be burned because now the Oilers start out 3-on-2. Napier, right in front. Anderson, and a save made by Skorodenski. Looks like despite all the shots, he's in that crease and having fun. This is his playoff action. 15:23 to go in the third period. The place to stay for live Stanley Cup coverage is USA. The Edmonton Oilers looking to step into the history books once again. A win tonight will be their 11th straight playoff victory going back to last year, which will tie them with Montreal and Boston. 2 teams that have done it. Canadians have done it 3 separate occasions. 11 straight playoff victories. 8-1, the Oilers lead it. McClellan, 24. Behind his own net with 5 minutes gone by in this third period of play. Al Albert along with Gary Green and Al Trawick bringing you all the action of game number 1 of the Campbell Conference Championships. Tomorrow night, Philadelphia at Quebec, game number 1 for the Wales Conference.
You can see Warren Skorodenski in net. That was Glenn Anderson, number 9, that had an opportunity to try and score on Skorodenski. The Oilers had a 3-on-2 chance And that was because number 5, Jack O'Callahan, had pinched really deep in the Edmonton end zone. Again, the Blackhawks are trying to score. They're frustrated, but at the same time, they continue to give up 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, and that just makes the Oilers that much happier.
Ben Wilson with Hunter out on him, and Coffey breaks out along with Lindstrom. Coffey shoots, saved by Skorodensky, and he gobbles it up. A bullet off the stick of Paul Coffey, who has a goal and a couple assists here tonight.
He's another man that likes to shoot the puck a great deal, and well, he should. He has an excellent shot. We will once again go to the ultra slow-mo replay, and you can see that shot that Paul Coffey just drove at Skorodensky. Skorodensky made the save, got a piece of it anyway. It came down in front of him. He was quick to jump on top of it. As any goaltender that plays against the Edmonton Oilers will tell you, jump on those rebounds quickly, because they will be all over top of you.
Here is a break, but the pass goes over 2 lines onto the stick of Ed Olczyk. Well, Murray Bannerman is now out of this game, taken out by Bob Pulford in this third period. Bannerman has never beaten the Edmonton Oilers. He will now be 0-8 lifetime. You know, Gretzky says, I've never seen Bannerman have a good game. Of course, the only time he sees him is against Edmonton.
I am still a little surprised that the Chicago Blackhawks are pinching and are trying to create odd man situations, and instead of just trying to get back to some disciplined hockey. And now their biggest problem has been, without question, the transition from that Minnesota series.
Semenko right in front as Gretzky looking for his 4th assist of the night. Lysiak clears it out, and it's deflected into the crowd. We have 14 minutes and 20 seconds left in this third period. Oilers lead at 8-1. Opportunity for Semenko in front.
Dave Semenko has looked pretty good tonight, not only in front of his net. That's pretty much home for Dave Semenko, but he has handled the puck very well tonight. There's Semenko. He didn't handle it so well on that particular occasion, but Dave Semenko can add some toughness, and he likes to show that he can handle the puck from time to time. He just didn't have the stick down quite soon enough in order to get a piece of that shot. Otherwise, he might have had himself a goal.
Well, he got a piece of Bergevin there. Semenko looking for his first playoff goal. He has played every game for the Edmonton Oilers. Gretzky circles, has some room, circles again.
You think you get dizzy playing against him some nights?
Well, that's one of the effects that he has on the opposition. This is Sutter. Sutter shoots, and it is smothered and gobbled up by Fuhr, who came all the way out to stop Daryl Sutter. And we will return after these words from our local systems. So Grant Fuhr coming up with a big save as he now gets ready to face off in his zone. He has faced 22 shots tonight. In the first 7 games for the Blackhawks, Fuhr was the first star in the game 4 times. And he's a big reason that the Edmonton Oilers even came out of that first round against Los Angeles. It looks on paper like a 3-game sweep, but there were 3 one-goal games, 2 won by Edmonton in overtime. Pozar looks in front for Hughes. And Ludzik takes it off the board for Chicago. 13 minutes and 13 seconds to go in this third period of play. These two teams will meet for game number 2 right here on Tuesday night. Then switch to Chicago Thursday for game 3. Melnick in close. Melnick trying to get it back to Pozar, taking his position on the blue line. Bill Gardner, 14, loses the stick, now looks to pin it. But Melnick has it. His clear pass, but it's blocked by the defense. Right in front it goes again, as Hughes was lurking on the doorstep. 8-1, the Oilers leading Chicago. And it's Patterson for the Blackhawks. His pass finally gets out of the zone. It was 3-1 Edmonton after 1 period, 7-1 after the second, and they have added another goal here in the third. And right now, Chicago could just be happy with putting it in the Oilers' zone. Lindstrom starting out. Eludes the check by Troy Murray, but Murray gets it back. Now Murray being bothered by Lindstrom, and he slaps it in.
Troy Murray's got a spark all of a sudden, and he has got the abilities to lead this Chicago team, and that type of leadership will carry them a little ways.
Coffey breaks in. He shot it with one arm. Turning on the burners, Paul Coffey, who many feel is just as dangerous as Wayne Gretzky on this team. And he gets a hand from the crowd. The 5th leading scorer in the NHL.
You watch Paul Coffey coming in here on the ultra slow-mo, and he just continues to dazzle everyone here in Edmonton and in the National Hockey League with some of his antics. And by that, I mean he not only has his great speed, but here he comes up with a one-handed shot that almost beats Skordenski. I agree with you in the fact that on one-on-one situation, Paul Coffey, because of his speed and because of some trickiness, he can be just as effective as Wayne Gretzky.
And Coffey now goes back for it. Secord battling in there with Savard. Savard gets it out to the point. O'Callaghan shoots, save. And there may have even been a tip by Larmer right in front of Fuhr. McClellan, cross ice, and here comes Coffey again. Flips it ahead to Lindstrom, who knows Coffey's behind him. Right in front to Hunter. And it's lodged behind the goal and whistled down by referee Don Koharski. 9 minutes into the 3rd period. With a score, the Edmonton Oilers 8, the Chicago Blackhawks 1. Well, if you remember, Gary, these Edmonton Oilers really slumped at the end of the season. The last 19 games, won only 6, lost 8 and tied 5. And they have turned it around. They are undefeated in the playoffs, on their way to make it 8-0 this year. Chicago on the attack. All they need is 7 goals in the next 10 minutes and 40 seconds to get back into this one. Messier brings it out for the Oilers, drops it to Anderson. Anderson drops it to Lowe, who dropped it to himself. Napier with Lysiak. And now Jerome Dupont circles out for the Blackhawks, who are playing now without Doug Wilson and without Keith Brown. Wilson did not play in the game because of a groin injury. Doubtful for game 2. Keith Brown was checked by Messier in the 1st period. Went down with a bruised hip. Taken to the hospital. Has not returned. So that's part of the problem for the Blackhawks. Lowe starting out for Edmonton. The long pass ahead. And it is floated into the Chicago zone. Patterson leads to Gardner. Back to Patterson. Gardner tips it in, along with Lupsick on the left wing. Makeshift line for the Hawks. Trying to get something going. The long pass, and here is Gretzky. Gretzky comes in, shoots, saves Skordenski, and he gobbles it up.
Wayne Gretzky doesn't exactly like breakaway situations. He has not had a strong percentage in the winning department on breakaways. That particular time, he elected to shoot one around, though, in order to try and take another whack at it. And here we will see Wayne Gretzky. He wound up and he shot, and you could see that he had a lot behind that shot. Some people think Wayne Gretzky hasn't got a hard shot. Well, they're wrong. When he winds up and he has some time, he can really blast that puck as well.
And the faceoff, he loses it to Gardner. Gretzky, who has 6 goals and 15 assists in his 8 playoff games, and after tonight, leads the playoffs in scoring. Melnick, number 28, back it goes to Gregg. Ahead to Gretzky, one-on-one, the shot, score! If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Well, that's exactly what Wayne Gretzky will continue to do each and every game. He never quits. Right here, he decided, I'll go for that again. And he wound up with as equal a hard a shot. And there you can see it from the ultra slow-mo. That sure doesn't look as though it was too slow-mo, but it was, in fact, Wayne Gretzky picking that corner just below the glove of Skordenski. And an amazing 9-1 hockey game in playoff hockey.
And we have 9:11 still to go The Oilers are now 1 goal away from their playoff record of 10 goals in one game. Here's a break. Troy Murray goes in, drops it to Ben Wilson, and Fuhr beat him. With this big lead, Fuhr still staying in the game, which sometimes is a problem for a goaltender.
Well, that is why Grant Fuhr is such an excellent goaltender. He makes the big saves when he has to, and even though his team was way ahead, he still bails them out of troubled spots with big saves.
Here's Pozar in front. Score! There's 10. Hughes gets it.
They're on a roll tonight, folks. Pat Hughes, number 16. He is left alone in the slot. He was a trailer. He picked up the loose puck and just fired it home past Gorodensky. You'll see it from behind the net angle, and that is the slow-mo once again. The top corner up above Gorodensky's glove, and we have now a 10-1 hockey game.
The Edmonton Oilers have exploded. For those who may have had concern for the Oilers, who slumped at the end of the season, they are delivering a message here tonight. As Hughes, who was not dressed for the first 4 playoff games for Edmonton, has now played the last 4 and scores his first goal from Pozar and Krushelnyski. For our local stations, we pause now.
One of the unique souvenirs here at the Northlands Coliseum is this chocolate puck. With it, I can do something the Chicago Blackhawks haven't been able to do all night. Take a bite out of the Edmonton Oilers. It's a scary way for Chicago to start. I said that earlier. And if they don't get a tremendous turnaround in this series, Edmonton will quickly show them the door in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, as Al Chadwick eats the chocolate hockey puck, Murray Bannerman and Warren Gorodensky have been eating this one with vulcanized rubber. And here comes Edmonton again. 2 goals within 36 seconds. Gretzky scored it from Gregg at 10:49, and Hughes from Pozar and Krushelnyski at 11:25.
Now, you hear these fans now? They're loving it. The score is 10-1. This game is way out of hand, and now the fans in Edmonton are happy.
Well, the team getting into the record books once more. 10 goals for the Oilers. Now, all they'd have to score are 13 more to get the highest scoring game by a team in playoff history. Anderson! Well, only 12 more.
Believe me, folks, it's not out of the question. Number 9, Glenn Anderson. From the top of the circle, he just rifled that shot, and it beats Gorodensky, as numerous ones have in his third period. You will see that shot from behind the net. This time, they didn't go for the glove side. They went for the short side, and that was good, too.
3 goals in 1 minute and 44. Anderson, who scored the first goal of the game for the Oilers, now has the Oilers 11. So the Oilers have broken their playoff record. This is the most they've ever scored in one game as the Blackhawks go in offside. The most goals ever scored by one team in a playoff game goes back to 1905 when Ottawa Silver 7 scored 23 goals to defeat Dawson City 23-2. Coming up after the game, Al Trautwig will be talking with the mobile player of the game to try to sort this whole thing out. That last goal by Anderson, Messier, and Gregg getting the assists at 12:33. So 3 goals in 1 minute 44 for Edmonton. And there's another try right in front. McClellan is there with Ben Wilson. Gregg, by the way, now has 3 assists in this game. 6 minutes and 44 seconds. The clock really going slowly for the Blackhawks. 11-1. The Oilers leading it. And now McClellan and DuPont exchanging words.
You got to understand right now the frustration of the Chicago Blackhawks. They are getting walloped here in Edmonton, 11-1. They can't get off the ice soon enough as far as they're concerned. And of course, tempers may boil over a little bit, but the Edmonton Oilers will be smart right now just to stay out of it. They've got a big lead, and they can look forward to game number 2.
Wayne Gretzky, remember when he called the New Jersey Devils a Mickey Mouse organization? That was after the Oilers had romped over the Devils by the score of 13-4 right here at the Northlands Coliseum in a regular season game. And that's the mark now the Oilers are going after. 13 goals, the most they've ever scored in a game.
And Wayne Gretzky regretted that moment for a long time. Still does regret it, but he said he made a mistake. You can bet that he won't be saying that same thing about the Chicago Blackhawks. He learned his lesson.
Right in front. Fuhr goes down, still gets a piece of it, although the shot was off goal. Actually, the Devils this year had a terrific season series against the Edmonton Oilers, playing very well against them. Here is Lundson. Behind the net. And Curry, who has 2 goals tonight, floats it out. Curry, Anderson, and Huddy with 2 goals apiece.
Some people might wonder why Glenn Sather left Grant Fuhr in the nets when they had such a big lead. Oh, here goes Gretzky.
Gretzky behind the back, but Bergevin is there. Well, it was 7-1 going in the 3rd period, and you felt that perhaps Sather would pull his goaltender as Gardner shoots, and Fuhr smothers it. Why was he left in goal? It was a perfect opportunity to get Andy Moog some playing time.
Yeah, but remember, Grant Fuhr has not been overworked. They have had 10 days off, and so it was important for Grant Fuhr to stay in tonight's hockey game, and so he can make some big saves, as he did on this one, on Billy Gardner. He stood up, he played the angle well. Billy Gardner wound up with a big shot, but Grant Fuhr just took it away. Paul Coffey, who gave the puck up from behind the net. Coffey doesn't do that a great deal. At least he has improved in that area. He gave it up to number 14, Billy Gardner, and then, of course, the Blackhawks had an excellent opportunity. Grant Fuhr doing some sprawling, but he kept that puck out of the net. That's number 1.
5.5 minutes to go in this 3rd period. A score that will raise eyebrows around the hockey world. Edmonton 11 and Chicago 1. Yaremchuk, who has scored the lone Chicago goal, feeds it to Olchuk. Olchuk to Yaremchuk. Now see if they just chuck that puck in on goal. DuPont, and it is blocked in front. DuPont again, and it goes wide. Ben Wilson. Looks like a power play. It isn't. We have had no penalties in this 3rd period.
The Oilers were letting the Blackhawks shoot from the points, but boy, they gave Grant Fuhr some excellent protection in front of the net.
Well, Gary, we're talking about the most goals scored in a game. Repeating it again, 23 goals. Ottawa Silver 7 in Ottawa back in 1905. Defeated Dawson City 23-2. And I know, Gary, you were there, so perhaps you could tell us a little bit of that one back in 1905.
Al, I remember it very clearly, believe me. We can't even say that we saw the videotapes on that one. Didn't exist.
Well, I know if they did exist, we'd get them. 4.5 minutes to go. Here is Anderson looking for the hat trick. Well, he tries the Coffey one-arm shot. 4 minutes, 20 seconds left. Secord comes out. And it's pushed back the other way. The Oilers with 11 and continue on the offensive attack. Gregg with Anderson in front. And Savoy circling in his own zone. Gets by Napier. Well, not quite. 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. The long pass to Secord. Lindstrom can't get it. Secord, long shot. That came on Fuhr real quickly. Fuhr has faced 27 shots. But how many would you say are the testing variety?
Not many, Ann. Al, I think you could count them on one hand.
The Chicago goaltenders have faced 40 shots. And I'd say about, 30 were testers.
Very close to that number.
11 of them went in. Here's McClellan dashing along the boards. He shoots. He had a man in front, but McClellan wanted to try to get in on the action. 3 minutes left. Gardner along with Ludsick. Double team back there. Coffey trying to dig it loose to get things started again. There's Coffey. Long pass out to Lindstrom. Ahead it goes to McClellan. McClellan working with Bergeron. And it's back the other way. Ludsick knocked out of the air. And a high stick is called as it goes right to another Edmonton Oiler. Live Stanley Cup playoff coverage, coast to coast, only on USA Sports. We'll be right back.
Back in Edmonton.
4 points for Gretzky here tonight. Here is Semenko bringing the crowd out of their seats again. With 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go in this third period. I wonder if Al Trout would flip the coin on this one to see if it would go into overtime or not. Gretzky had 7 points in the last game against Winnipeg. So in the last 2 games, Gretzky has now amassed 11 points.
Now, let me tell you, for the Chicago Blackhawks, today's Saturday. They don't play again until Tuesday. That's a long time before they get any opportunity for revenge. And they have to sit here in Edmonton and listen to the media.
Shoveled in front. Troy Murray scores. And even the crowd here in Edmonton gives Chicago a hand. With a minute 38 to go in the game.
Interesting that one of the few players on the Blackhawks with any spark tonight has been number 19, Troy Murray, and he, ironically, scores the goal in the dying minutes here of the hockey game. And it was number 15, Yaremchuk, that did most of the work behind the net. He threw it out to Troy Murray. Those 2 players, Yaremchuk and Troy Murray, have tried pretty hard in tonight's game, but it takes 20 hockey players, 19 of them on the ice, to beat the Edmonton Oilers. So you've got to play hard against them.
After 9 unanswered goals by the Oilers, the Blackhawks score with 18:22 gone by in this third period. Troy Murray, his 3rd playoff goal, and Yaremchuk gets the assist. 11-2, the Oilers lead it. As we get closer to the final minute, Gretzky a goal and 3 assists. Curry, Anderson, and Huddy all with 2 goals and 1 assist. Coffey with a goal and 2 assists. Those are the leading scorers in tonight's game. 50 seconds left. As Gregg and Secord bang with one another. And the Oilers will not let it lie down. Here's Messier. 37 seconds left. Winding up is Coffey. 27 seconds to go. Hozar to Anderson. Get on. Hits the post. Well, for the Oilers, it is good to the last drop.
You see how well the Oilers are just controlling the play. They have all night long. They've kept possession of the puck, and they have not given it away. They've made good passes with it, or else they've created scoring opportunities. And here is a good opportunity for us to see exactly how well the Oilers did control that play. The shot, and Swierdensky can thank his lucky stars that one at least hit the crossbar. Otherwise, it would have been an even dozen for the Oilers.
Well, they have 20 seconds to put one more in. Anderson looking for the hat trick during the regular season in 3 games against the Blackhawks. He had a hat trick in 2 of them. Closing seconds. Near steal by Gardner. 5 seconds to go. 2-1, and it is over. And the Edmonton Oilers, in very convincing fashion, have won game number 1 of the Campbell Conference Finals as they demolish the Chicago Blackhawks by the score of 11-2. The shots on goal in this third period for Edmonton 14, for Chicago 7. So for the game, the Oilers with 42 shots on net, and the Chicago Blackhawks with 28. Coming up, our mobile player of the game will join Al Trautwig, and there he is. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. He now has 11 points in his last 2 games. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, our mobile player of the game. The final score, the Oilers 11, the Blackhawks 2. Will return with our mobile player of the game right after this.